what these candidates are willing to talk about when it comes to issues of poverty. I don't know if that word was mentioned even once last night, and other economic crises that people are facing, Dr. Barber.
You know, one of the things that continues to bother us, and the way in which the moderators don't even bring up an issue that before COVID-19 was impacting 43% of this nation, 140 million people before COVID were poor or low wealth, and 62 million people working for less than a living wage. And since COVID, we know that millions have been added to the poverty and low wealth numbers. We were well over 50% because of the new pool. We know we had 87 million people before COVID that were either uninsured or underinsured, and some 20 million people have been because of people who've lost their insurance because they've lost their jobs. 40% of the jobs that make $40,000 a year have been lost. And the framing, it's amazing that we can't start there. I think Senator Harris did a tremendous job in pointing out the economic injustice. But one of the things I would say is we have to stop saying things were well before COVID. It's almost as though we give that away to the Trump and Pence. The reality is Wall Street was well. The reality is those who got his tax cuts were well. The reality is, though, that before COVID, they were trying to overturn health care. Before COVID, they were blocking living wages. Before COVID, we were not addressing the issue of poor and low wealth people. And we have to find a way to say that. I wish the moderators would just talk about it and open it up, Amy, because 64 million poor and low wealth people were eligible to vote in the last election. That's nearly 1/3 of the electorate. 34 million did not vote. And a study that we just recently did called Power Unleashed, Unleashing the Power of Poor and Low Wealth Voters, said that the number one reason that poor and low wealth people did not vote was a tri-reason. They never hear their names called, their issues, the lack of transportation, and they can't get off the job, and voter suppression. But that's the very group that in 15 states, if just 1 to 20% of them vote, Michigan 1%, North Carolina 19%, Florida 7%, could fundamentally shift the electorate. And they deserve to no longer be marginalized, but to be heard and to be talked about in these debates.
Reverend Barber, I'd like to ask you about one aspect of what this widespread poverty before the pandemic and after the pandemic has induced, namely food insecurity. According to the Census Bureau and the Department of Agriculture, the level of hunger in U.S. households has tripled since 2019, and the proportion of American children who sometimes don't have enough to eat is now as much as 14 times higher than last year. So could you talk about that particular issue and your assessment of the Biden-Harris plan, their anti-poverty proposal?
Well, you know, when Pence talked last night, he told what my grandmother called a bold-faced lie. The first thing is that 83% of the money went to corporations and banks. It did not go to the people.
Yeah.
When we look at COVID.
Hey there. I was just playing a radio show on public radio called Democracy Now! With Amy, whatever her name is. And they're always kind of on the down low on a negative thing. And, you know, like I keep saying, one man's thing is another man's other thing. So one man's, glorious thing is another man's archipelago of catastrophe. So here we are, and we are slowly, dragging ourselves towards Jerusalem, and it's a beautiful day here. It's a gorgeous day. I just was looking at the canary in the coal mines. Maybe we should stop listening to. Yes, exactly. And I've been doing, I live out in the middle of nowhere. So I have no internet, no cell phone, no TV, no anything, and I get a very slight, FM. I can hear the college station, the public radio, and that's why I can hear things like Democracy Now. And I hear the other thing on FM is a guy probably coming out of a barn, Christian Bible thumper. And I'd like to know where he was because I'd love to sit down and talk to that guy. And because he has some pretty interesting insights on the Bible, because the Bible is just a travel log, right? There isn't anything in it that where it says that Jesus Christ wrote this. It's just hearsay, And the New Testament is like the Old Testament is almost 1,000 pages long, and the New Testament is almost 200 pages long. So it's real short. Plus, the New Testament is just 5 people saying the same thing, talking about the same miracles and the same situation and what happened, right? It's like a game of telephone. And gossip. Yep. So we have to really go, so I'm out in the woods, right? And 2 weeks ago, it rained for a whole straight week, and pretty hard rain, meaning if you went out from underneath the tarp, you'd get really wet. And it was somewhat cold. You could tell fall was coming in. So you kind of had to wear my, military poncho there. And then the last, almost 2 weeks now, it's been beautiful. Not a cloud in the sky. Very nice temperatures during the day between 60 and 72. And at night, very comfortable between 45 and 55. So it's been really nice. And I've been visualizing that the rest of winter will be like this, right? And thank you, global warming. But, I do click on the radio just to hear what it is and see what's going on. And so I basically heard, Amy going on and talking about last night's debate, which I listened to, which was just the same. And what really people never talk about is that this is such a scripted thing. Donald Trump, for 10 years was on NBC, that was owned by General Electric, one of the 10 largest military industrial entities on the planet. And it has everything: healthcare, investments, credit cards, you name it. Now, GE has fallen apart and sold itself off. But still, Noam Chomsky wrote a great book called Manufacturing Consent. And so it's all of them. So will they. See, it doesn't matter whether Jojo wins or Donnie wins, because they both work for the same corporate entity, the hidden hand, the high table. And we have, if you go, so in the Bible, right, if you read Old Testament, I don't know why people diss the Old Testament, but it is a straight up representation of the corporate oligarchy, the corporate pyramid, of the corporate hegemony, right? So I really, and when you read it in Hebrew, that's why the Torah is in a scroll, a roll, because it's it's not page after page after page, the illusion of change. No, it's a rollout. And they read it with a pointer, right? They look at every letter that's here, because in Hebrew, every letter of the alphabet represents a number. And so each sentence, each paragraph represents an equation that you can then go into, when you study Kabbalah, the Jewish esoteria. And what does esoteria mean? But hidden knowledge, not scary devil worship, hidden knowledge. Occult, what does that mean? It means preferential sacred knowledge, right? Only certain people can read that, right? And that's where we're at, right at a crossroads. I mean, Plato said, it's a wise man who's guided by the stars, a fool who's led by them. And that's where we are now, And today is a lot of people's birthday. They should look at where their stars are right now. That's just a heads up, like, oops, I better watch out. Or, oh man, this is going to be a great day and don't worry about anything. But you shouldn't let it obfuscate your life. because when you are internalized, when everything is from your heart out, when you're living your life from your heart, and that's what Jesus Christ did. He lived, his life through his heart. That's why Buddha, standing on the side of the road, was a person who was entranced by being awake. People look at him, oh, this guy's God. No, he was just awake, and you are awake when you are coming from love's co-creation of your heart. So all the rest of this stuff doesn't matter, because it's just, tomorrow after tomorrow after tomorrow after tomorrow after tomorrow. Yes, the hidden hand is trying to, bring forth. Go watch that movie, Zardos. That's exactly what the hidden hand wants. And what was running, the bubble realities was an AI, right? And the AI manipulated genetically that people would, after generation at generation, would create our hero, Sean Conway, who, is smart and realizes that all he has to do to get inside the bubble instead of staying outside the bubble is to jump in the flying head and, pop out where the rich people live. It's like a gated community. I mean, really go watch that movie, Zardos, made in the late 70s, early 80s. You should go watch all of the movies that Sean Connery made after 007, right? Because 007 was, James Bond was a perfect representation of what our political corporate world was, sociopath. And so, and how can you not be living in a sociopathic world way? You can not be just by, serving love's co-creation and not your ego. Let's see. So, let's see what our sister in Sweden is saying. Anna. Hello, Bobo. Let's see. Maybe we should stop listening. Yep. Nice. Didn't do the caps. Okay. Gossip law. Yep. So it's all of them. So will the new, but these we can relate more to since we live in 2020. Okay. Just learned that we in Europe has more spell. Remember what I say about spelling. It's just a poison apple. So, this, if you go to, what's his name? Clive Hyde. No, it's this guy who I put on back in February and March. And he's kind of retired computer programmer, smart guy. And he worked for companies that work for DARPA. And he spent most of his career writing software to create models to see, modeling nuclear war, modeling Clive Hyde and modeling biological war. And he said back in January, before anybody was talking about this, he said, hey, this is a biological weapon. And he set it all out. I mean, he put it on graphs and showed it all out. And he explained who made it, where it came from. And, the backbone of this thing is a nano a protein made by a materials handling expert at Harvard, who then took that up to one of the world's greatest bacteriological warfare labs in Canada on the West Coast and created this virus and then brought it over to China, to Hunan, to their lab, which was, he showed pictures of the lab where, these labs that we have in Europe and America and high level industrial nations are level 6, meaning you don't go in there without a spacesuit. Go watch the movie, The Andromeda Strain. That's exactly about what's going on now, right? And so, but that virus came from space. And this one was manufactured because it's hitting certain people, the old, Black and Hispanic, It's infecting young people, but they're not representing, so they can spread it more. But it's going to infect them just like AIDS did. So the other interesting thing about this coronavirus, again, don't believe a word I say. This is strictly for entertainment's sake. Just like if you were reading, James Bond novel, and you were reading about Dr. No and Smersh, don't believe a word I say, right? This is just for entertainment's sake, right? But as, clear thinking, I think that's his thing. But if you go back and look at my history, you will see it. The other guy who was talking about this in an interesting way was Max Icon of, and I don't even see him anymore, so, so anyway, let's see, what else is Lena saying? I love you, Lena. Let's see, Level 4 Labs creating, yep. So back in, when was it? I was taking care of my parents in Florida. I guess it was 2006. And I would hit the road. I wouldn't just like sit in the sunroom with my parents all day long. I would go to the beach. I had two dogs, so we ran around, and there were, between A1A and A and the ocean, there was the intercoastal, and in that there was still natural forests and wetlands that they hadn't dug up yet, right? Like especially around what's the name of that place? Port St. Lucie, right? Past Jensen Beach. And between Jensen Beach and Port St. Lucie, there was some really beautiful land. And so I would go there, and there were little motels and little neighborhoods, and that were cheap, that were almost like forgotten. And mostly artists and young people lived in them, and they were doing great things, And between 06 and 010, I was there. Not all the time, because I was still working for the corporate desperate lawyers, but a good deal of the time, because especially in the wintertime, I hung out there. But a lot of my clients were in Florida, so I would hang with my parents, I would take care of them, but when they were jerks, I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't make a big deal. I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't curse them. I just wouldn't be there. I would know almost, 24 hours before, right? Wouldn't be there. And I had friends in Jupiter Island. I had friends in, Hollywood and Fort Lauderdale. And I had friends down in the Keys. And I had my little house down in the Keys. So, I told my parents, when you're jerks, not here. What if I hurt myself? You better be nice. My dad, what if I pulled out? Because, their house up north, my dad would have these guys come in and buff up the floors like they were bowling alleys, right? And then he had these little throw rugs on them. And my mom, fell down on the floor, right? But she was so light that nothing happened. But my dad came over, like the Hulk, and to try and help her, and he fell on top of her and broke her hip. So after that, from that point on, it was all downhill from my mom anyway. And so that's why I try to, I have all the stuff. My mom, and I have my dad, he, died at 98 with never having a cavity. My mom had cottage cheese for teeth. She was one of the first people that had implants. She was the test bunny, and they made her out of stainless steel. And so when they put him in, she looked like a James Bond villain. My friends were scared to come and visit. So, again, we are in a very strange time. I'm old enough to remember the Vietnam War. I'm old enough to remember Joe McCarthy. I'm old enough to remember, England invading Egypt over the Suez Canal, and that was the end of England, because England ran home, and oil was no longer, the English pound oil dollar, and it changed to the American oil dollar, right? And it was kind of already the American oil dollar, but that put to faith, and it was based on gold, all the gold we had, because man, after, the Nazis took a lot of stuff from everybody in Europe, but we took a ton from them and the Japs. I mean, more than you can imagine. Go watch Catherine Austin Fitz. Go watch Joseph P. Farrell. Go watch the X series that Dark Journalism has done. These are all YouTube characters that you can see. They have all written books. It's all really interesting. And here we are, 20 minutes and 20 seconds. And the only person watching is AI. Maybe, Elaine, are you still there? Always, has always come, came, etc. Strange things. Yep, always come. That's what we're here. We are in this sandbox to what we walked away from love's co-creation of, heaven. And we basically ate the knowledge of good and bad, which is a total illusion. And we are now stuck in this holiday land that's hell, heaven, and in between the day, tomorrow, as Shakespeare's, what's his name? Hamlet said after he killed everyone and won what he was trying to get. And his buddy said, "Oh, we won. We're your king. Yay, it's so great. And you got nothing to worry about because all your enemies are dead. You killed them all." And he goes, "No." He goes, "What do you mean?" He says, "I have to worry about what? What do you got to worry about? Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow." And that's the illusion of time. And that's what we got. So if you're coming from your heart, from love's co-creation, there is no worry. So anyway, guys, give me a thumbs up. Come on, let's see some thumbs up. Also, go to my, I'm working on my next novel, Legend. And I'd love to hear what you guys think of it. And the one I did before it, I can't even think of its name. But I got a whole bunch of stuff on xratted.blogspot.com. And so go look at that. You're already watching the YouTubes. Go get some more subscribers. We're almost at 400. Hey! And I love you all. You're my cadre, and I want you to, in your neighborhoods, make a difference, clean the street in front of your house, help your neighbor out when they are down in the dumps, start a garden with other people, do things with other people. This whole pandemic is keeping us separate, and our alchemical selves don't do well when we're separated, So I just want to tell you I love you. Don't, turn off the TV, throw it out the window, get rid of your screens. I mean, yeah, have one, you need one to communicate on the internet. So, like I got one. So, but don't let it rule your life. And you know what's interesting about Donnie? Donnie lies so much that he goes 180, and what he says is the truth. He says, "Oh, it's fake news." Well, he's right. Everything in the media is fake news because it's owned by 6 military-industrial complex, banking, mind-controlled, Tavis Institute. Go watch those kids who made that great video, The Minds of Men, right? And I don't see them that much. I mean, they made some great videos. And there was another truly graceful, where is she? All these people who made really, I just go on, stream of conscious here. And I can, because I don't really work at this. It's not my job. I love you guys. And so it's my essence of my love for you all. Let's see. Do things in real life. Yes, do things in real life. That's exactly it. And I do things in real life because it keeps me alive. But what's sad, so I talk to everybody, and people really, face to face, right? Wear my mask if they're wearing a mask, I stay 7 feet away, whatever. I do it outside mostly, if I'm coming out to the parking lot of a grocery store, I'll make contact with the people, and 10 feet away, we start talking. And they are so desperate to talk that I just start it off and then let them talk. And I listen to them and give them a few words of encouragement and go on my way. And, do the same thing. You don't have to, start movements or anything. I mean, you can, I have, It's, you can. All you got to do is start. That's the amazing. I've learned that all you got to do is start, and you can go from there. But so I'm, 40 miles in either direction of my front door, a little more, a little less, are two college towns, big ones. Each college has, 20, 30,000 kids. And so I try to talk to those kids to get them excited about do stuff. And I get them excited, get them on the edge of where they might, and I've got it all written out, how to do it, like step by step, how to do something in your college. And they go, well, this is amazing. Can you, so, I'll be there as much as you want me there. I'll be, a guide, a mentor, or just a rootin' tootin' cheerleader, so go and do it. And they, oh, I am. In the last 20 years, over, 4 into 20 is 5 different generations of college students at these schools. I've probably, goosed up, got excited. 1,000 people, they've done 0. When it was like put in their ball court to do something, 0. And I gave them choices of everything from, talking to people in the parking lot to, making gigantic entities and having, blah, blah, blah. Now, there are people doing stuff, out in the woods. There are some really great grannies doing great, they're like the old crones of Ireland, and they're all around me, right? And they love me because I basically, connect with what they're doing. And then I bring people from their own community, kids from their own community, their own kids to them to learn this stuff. So that's one thing that I've been relatively pretty successful at, right? So I'm going to keep going until 30 minutes and 30 seconds, and then I'm going to hit the road because I got things to do, and it's 2:13, right? Just on time. And now that's the next thing, is to be on time. It's not like to be punctual. It's to have your heart, in sync. Co-creation, love's co-creation, in sync with the things you're doing. So you're right there, right in the moment. And as a young lad, I had that organically. That's why I trust everyone. That's why the trolls, they don't, they troll me online and it kind of goes right over my head. I don't even, oh, look at them, hit, boom, they're out. I mean, in the beginning, I gave everyone a shot to, become their best. And pretty much everyone in the chorus started out as, at least a rough writer, not quite a troll, but a rough writer. And then, when they found the community here, they found love and they found interaction and they found that they could be the best they could. So they do, when they come online. Now, the trolls, not so much. And I have a sense that even though they are different, they are at least one, if not, I don't think there's more than 2 of all the different trolls that I really think it's only one person, right? One person. And I feel sorry for that person because if they have to troll me, they got nothing in their life going on. And they probably have a lot of things, they probably don't have to worry about money because I don't worry about money because I don't have any, I'm living in my car. But they probably have a lot of money. They probably have big houses and their parents are paying their bills. And they probably have, I have to drive until, I can find, a Wi-Fi that's open that I can use. Because I've learned if, I use somebody who I know's Wi-Fi who has a business, trolls are going to go after them and not me. So I just go after, open things and don't worry about it. And so because, love's co-creation always got my back, So, yeah, it could be the canary in the coal mine. So, but I, have no idea, But just, I spent my whole life and I got paid very well for it, looking at trends, looking at individuals, looking at people, the FBI calls it, what do they call it? But I call it cold reading. I mean, that's the old term for it. But the Bureau of Behavioral Institute, what did they call it? I forget. But anyway, oh, here we go. 30 minutes and 4 seconds. So I love you guys. Lena, love you. I'm going to try and jump in. The hurricane's going to hit the Gulf Coast and then the East Coast. Watch out, everybody there. I love you all. I'm praying for you all. I'm sending energy to protect you all. But usually what happens, that storm either kind of stays along the coast, and I get a little bit of it from that. Otherwise, it can also kind of go up into Arkansas and go across into Kentucky, and I get a little bit more. So I'm like in the middle of everything, and I get a little taste of it. It's like 2 weeks ago, there was a hurricane that came through, and it just turned into a big rainstorm as it went from the Gulf of Mexico through America and flooded out lots of places. I live on a mountain. I don't have to really worry about flooding, but it rained for a whole week. And that may be what happens now. Okay. So I'm praying for you all, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al-Bob. I am your griot, your sensei. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. I love you all. So let's see some thumbs up, kids. There's 3 of you. Before I go, let's see 3 thumbs up. Come on. You can do it. I know you can do it. Come on. Come on. Come on. You like the state of Kansas. Yep. I have some really good friends in Kansas. So here I go. I'm out of here. Lena, I love you, baby. Thanks for keeping me company. And 3 of you there. Come on, guys. Let's see some thumbs up, right? And go to xratted.blogspot.com. And if you want to get a hold of me at the dudeawake42@gmail. And I have my PayPal there. It'd be fun to see. It does work. Somebody sent me $13, and I noticed it, and I put it into... yes, it works. So anybody wants to, that's probably the best and easiest way to send me any support is my PayPal at thedudeawake42@gmail. And again, go look at my writings at xratted.blogspot.com and tell people about Dreamy Dreamland. Let's get some more of the cadre on there. We're now at about almost 400. It's 10 or so away from that. So I love you. I'll catch you later. Okay, come on, thumbs up. do 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 do.